You just walked out of that mahogany-paneled office on a Tuesday afternoon in May. The financial planner in the $400 Italian tie, the one who calls himself a fiduciary with that smug little smile, just shook your hand and fed you the exact same scripted line he feeds every 62-year-old who walks through his glass door. He told you to wait until age 70 to claim your Social Security. He pulled out the laminated chart. He showed you the beautiful upward-sloping line. He said the magic words, 8% guaranteed return per year, compounded. It's the best deal in finance. You walked out feeling like a genius. You felt smart. You felt disciplined. You felt like you had finally outsmarted the system that has been kicking the middle class in the teeth for 40 years. You are wrong. You just signed a permission slip for the slow-motion mathematical execution of your retirement. And the man behind the desk knew it before you even sat down. What he did not show you, what he conveniently left off his color-coded PowerPoint, what he is professionally and financially incentivized never to tell you, is the catastrophic chain reaction that begins the moment you walk back to your car. He did not tell you about the gap years. He did not tell you about sequence of returns risk. He did not tell you about the 401k death spiral that activates the second you decide to delay your benefits in a fragile market. And he certainly did not tell you that the United States Treasury, the Social Security Administration, and his entire wealth management firm are all mathematically betting on you dying around age 81 before you ever see a single penny of actual profit from the delayed retirement strategy he just sold you. The Social Security Trust Fund's own trustees have been telling Congress for years that asset reserves run dry around 2033. You are betting 8 years of your life savings on a system that is mathematically projected to require benefit cuts before you even finish the waiting game. This is not official financial advice. It is a survival guide for a rigged retirement system specifically engineered to confuse the middle class out of their own money. Let me introduce you to a man I'll call Bob. Bob is 62. He worked 37 years at a regional manufacturing plant in suburban Cleveland. He did everything right, maxed his 401k match every year since 1988, never carried a credit card balance more than 30 days, paid off his 30-year mortgage in 26 years. He has exactly $500,000 in a rollover IRA. His Social Security statement shows 3 numbers. Claim at 62 and get $2,000 a month. Wait until full retirement age 67 and get $2,850. Wait all the way to 70 and get $3,520 a month for the rest of his life. Bob walks into his advisor's office. The advisor leans back, steeples his fingers, and says, "Bob, if you wait until 70, you get an extra $18,000 a year. Over a 20-year retirement, that's $360,000 in extra lifetime benefits. It's free money from the government." Bob nods. Bob smiles. Bob signs the engagement letter. Bob has just made the single worst mathematical decision of his entire adult life. He won't know it until 2032, when he is 68 and his portfolio is sitting at $147,000 instead of the projected $600,000. Here is the invisible drain nobody explains. Bob needs $4,000 a month to live, not to live large, to live. Property taxes in Cuyahoga County are not getting cheaper. Medicare Part B premiums for 2026 just jumped again. His Medigap supplement is creeping toward $300 a month. Homeowners insurance just renewed 22% higher. Groceries cost 40% more than they did in 2019. He is not living a champagne lifestyle. He is living a $4,000 a month working-class dignity lifestyle. He has zero pension. He is the post-pension generation. If Bob claims at 62, the math is simple and survivable. $2,000 flows in from the government. He only needs to pull $2,000 a month from his IRA. That's $24,000 a year out of $500,000, a 4.8% withdrawal rate. Aggressive but workable, especially if the market cooperates. But Bob listened to the man in the $400 tie. Bob is going to wait until 70, which means for 96 straight months, 8 full consecutive years, Bob has to pull the entire $4,000 every single month from his IRA. $48,000 a year out of $500,000 in starting principal. That's a 9.6% annual withdrawal rate. The standard safe withdrawal rate that every retirement researcher has written about for 30 years is 4%. Some, looking at 2026 valuations, have quietly revised that down to 3%. Bob is withdrawing at more than twice the safe rate, for 8 straight years. During the most fragile valuation environment in modern stock market history, this is not a strategy. This is the controlled demolition of a $500,000 nest egg. Now let me unpack the so-called evidence for delaying. The delayed retirement credit is not an 8% return on your money. Read that again. It is not a return. There is no money. The Social Security Administration is not handing you 8% more dollars per year on a balance you can see, touch, withdraw, or leave to your kids. They are increasing your future monthly benefit by approximately 8% for each year you delay past full retirement age. That is a completely different thing. When a stockbroker tells you an investment returns 8% per year, you can sell that investment tomorrow and pocket the gain. You own the asset. It is liquid. It is real. It is yours. The delayed retirement credit is a promise of slightly larger future payments from a government program you do not own, cannot sell, cannot bequeath in any meaningful way, and cannot collect if you die before claiming. If Bob waits until 70 and dies of a heart attack at age 69 and 364 days, his entire 8-year sacrifice, every dollar drained from his IRA, every share sold, produces $0 of benefit to his estate. The advisor still gets his fee. The 8% figure also does not account for COLA. Your Social Security benefit is automatically increased every year by the cost of living adjustment, regardless of when you claim. The money you didn't collect at 62 was also getting COLA'd upward the whole time. You just weren't receiving it. Now the first villain in this story, sequence of returns risk. This is the silent financial assassin nobody at your bank branch has ever explained to you. Because to explain it would be to admit that the entire delay to 70 industrial complex is built on statistical sand. Sequence of returns risk is the brutal mathematical truth that the order in which your investment returns occur matters infinitely more than the average return once you start withdrawing money. While you are accumulating, still working and contributing, the order does not matter much. A crash in your 40s followed by good years leaves you fine. But the second you start withdrawing, the math becomes savagely and irreversibly asymmetric. A bad market in the first 5 years of withdrawals is a portfolio extinction event. It does not matter what the market does in years 6 through 30. The damage is permanent. The compounding never recovers. You can have a 30-year average return of 7% and still go completely broke if those returns are arranged in the wrong order while you are pulling money out. Why? Because every share you sell in a down market is a share you can never sell again in the up market that follows. You converted a temporary paper loss into a permanent realized loss the second you hit sell to pay your property tax bill. The recovery happens for everyone else who held on. It does not happen for you. Let me make this concrete with Bob. It is May 2026. He starts pulling $4,000 a month from his $500,000 IRA. The market suffers a 15% correction over the first 18 months. Not a crash, a garden variety correction of the kind that happens roughly once a decade. His portfolio drops to $425,000 from market action alone. But he hasn't stopped withdrawing. He has pulled out $72,000 in cash to live on. So now, $425,000 minus $72,000 equals $353,000 left. In 18 months, almost 30% of his starting principal is gone. And he still has 6.5 years before that magical age 70 check arrives. Now the market recovers. Of course it recovers. It bounces back 15% over the next 2 years. Beautiful, right? Wrong. Because Bob's portfolio, at $353,000, had to keep generating $48,000 a year in withdrawals while the market rebounded. 3 years into retirement, after pulling another $96,000 out for living expenses during the recovery, Bob's portfolio is sitting around $310,000. The market has fully recovered. His portfolio has not. It will never recover. The shares he sold at the bottom to pay his electric bill in October 2026 are now owned by someone else. That someone else will ride them up. Bob will not. Fast forward to age 70. Bob finally files for Social Security. $3,520 a month. He's the king. Except his IRA, the one that started at $500,000, is sitting at roughly $140,000. He destroyed 85% of his life savings to get an extra $1,520 a month from the federal government. He spent a $500,000 nest egg to buy an $18,000 a year annuity from Uncle Sam. That is not a strategy. Now the second villain, the break-even point. If Bob had claimed at 62, he would have collected $2,000 a month for 96 months. That's $192,000 of guaranteed Social Security income he voluntarily walked away from. By waiting until 70, he collects an extra $1,520 a month. Divide $192,000 by $1,520. That's 126 months or 10.5 years. Bob has to live to age 80.5 just to collect in raw nominal dollars the same total he would have received by claiming at 62. And that calculation does not include time value of money. Once you adjust for even a 4 to 5% discount rate, the real break-even pushes well past age 83, sometimes north of 85. The Social Security Administration's own actuarial life expectancy for a 62-year-old American man in 2026 is roughly age 82. The system is explicitly engineered to be roughly cost-neutral to the Treasury, which means for the average person, the delay strategy produces roughly zero lifetime advantage in expected value. For anyone with below-average longevity, heart condition, family history of dying at 78, diabetes, prior cancer, delaying is a guaranteed losing bet. The advisor never shows you the actuarial table. It would shatter the entire pitch. After tax, the story gets worse. Up to 85% of Social Security is included in adjusted gross income for most middle-class retirees. That extra $1,520 a month is really about $1,200 after federal tax in the 22% bracket. The real after-tax break-even pushes north of age 86. By the time the strategy wins, Bob is statistically already in the actuarial graveyard. So what is the actual strategy? Here it is, step by step. Step 1. Understand the core insight. Your IRA, your 401k, your Roth, those are your assets. You own them, they compound, they pass to your heirs. Your Social Security benefit dies when you die. So the question is not which option pays more in nominal dollars over 20 years. The question is which option preserves more of your actual transferable wealth while keeping you alive and dignified. Claim Social Security earlier. Use the government check to cover as much monthly spending as possible. Let your IRA stay in the market and compound. Let your sequence of returns risk get diluted by 8 extra years of growth. Step 2. Run your own break-even with your actual numbers. Pull your Social Security statement from SSA.gov. Look at the 3 claiming ages. Subtract the age 62 number from the age 70 number. That's your extra monthly benefit. Multiply the age 62 benefit by 96 months. That's what you give up. Divide. If you are not statistically and family history confident that you will live a decade past your break-even, the math does not work. Step 3. If you are married, run the survivor benefit math separately. The one scenario where delay can sometimes make sense is when you are the higher-earning spouse, your partner is significantly younger and healthier, and you have other resources to bridge the gap without aggressively liquidating retirement assets. Even then, run the numbers. Step 4. Use the early claiming years for strategic Roth conversions. From age 62 to age 73, when required minimum distributions kick in, you have an 11-year window where your taxable income is artificially low. Convert chunks of your traditional IRA into a Roth at the 12% and 22% brackets. Pay the tax now on your terms. Remove that money from future RMD calculations. Your Roth grows tax-free for the rest of your life and your heirs' lives. This is one of the most powerful estate planning moves available to a middle-class retiree. And it is dramatically harder to execute if you are simultaneously draining your IRA for 8 years waiting for a bigger government check. Step 5. Stop treating Social Security as an investment vehicle. It is a longevity insurance program. Insurance is meant to be claimed when you need it. You have already paid the premium, 40 years of payroll deductions. Claim it. Use it. Stop letting the system convince you that being patient with money you already earned is somehow virtuous. Step 6. Recalibrate every 12 months. Circumstances change. Stay flexible. The wait until 70 gospel is a static prescription for a dynamic reality. That mismatch alone is reason enough to reject it. The financial industry needs you to delay. Their entire revenue model depends on you keeping every dollar of your portfolio under their management for as long as possible. Every year you delay Social Security and live off your IRA instead is another year their assets under management stay inflated. Another year their 1.25% fee gets multiplied across a larger base. Your advisor may be a fiduciary on paper. He may genuinely believe he is doing the right thing. But the industrial machinery he operates inside is biased toward the recommendation that benefits the firm, not the math that benefits you. Bob did not have to lose his nest egg. He listened to the wrong voice. Don't be Bob. Let me go deeper on sequence of returns risk, because this concept is so poorly understood that even people who've read about it intellectually don't feel it viscerally until they see the numbers play out in real time against a real portfolio. Imagine two retirees, Alice and Bob. Both have $500,000. Both withdraw $40,000 a year. Both experience the same average annual return of 6% over 20 years. The only difference? Alice gets the bad years first, then the good years. Bob gets the good years first, then the bad years. Same average, completely different outcome. Alice, who got the bad years early while withdrawing heavily, runs out of money in year 14. Bob, who got the good years first and let compounding work before the bad years hit, still has $287,000 at the end of year 20. Same portfolio, same withdrawal rate, same long-term average return. The only variable is the sequence. Alice went broke. Bob did not. This is why the delay to 70 strategy in a fragile 2026 market is not just suboptimal. It is potentially catastrophic. You are not just reducing the expected value of your portfolio. You are dramatically increasing the variance in the worst direction. You are making yourself maximally vulnerable to exactly the scenario that kills retirement portfolios. Forced high-rate withdrawals in the opening years of a down market. Every honest retirement researcher, William Bengen, Wade Pfau, Michael Kitces, has written extensively about this. The safe withdrawal rate of 4% was derived from historical data that includes many 30-year retirement periods. The periods that failed, where the retiree ran out of money, were not characterized by persistently low average returns. They were characterized by bad sequences in the first 5 to 7 years. A retiree who happened to retire in 1929 or 1966 experienced adequate 30-year average returns, but ran out of money because the early years were catastrophic and the withdrawals during those years were permanent. In May 2026, every major valuation metric, cyclically adjusted price-to-earnings ratios, price-to-book, price-to-sales, is elevated relative to historical averages. This does not mean a crash is imminent. Markets can stay expensive for years, but it does mean the expected forward return for the next decade is statistically below the historical average, which means a retiree who starts withdrawing at 9.6% annually in this environment is not just taking above-average risk. He is taking above-average risk against a below-average expected return environment. The compounding math works brutally against him. Now, consider the alternative. Bob claims at 62. $2,000 a month comes in like clockwork. He only needs $2,000 a month from his IRA, $24,000 a year, a 4.8% rate from a $500,000 portfolio. That same 15% market correction in the first 18 months, his portfolio drops to $425,000. But his withdrawals were only $36,000 during those 18 months, not $72,000. He's sitting at $389,000, not $353,000. The difference is $36,000 of principal preservation at the exact moment when preservation matters most. When the market recovers, he recovers with it. His shares that survive the downturn are still in his account, not sold at the bottom to pay his grocery bills. By age 70, the Bob who claimed early, despite collecting a lower monthly benefit, has a portfolio that is dramatically larger than the Bob who delayed. And the larger portfolio generates its own income, its own compounding, its own security buffer. The smaller monthly Social Security check is not a loss. It is the price of a $200,000 to $300,000 nest egg preservation, which is worth far more than the incremental monthly benefit difference over any realistic actuarial horizon. One more thing nobody tells you about the delay strategy: tax efficiency. When you delay Social Security and spend down your traditional IRA instead, you are converting tax-deferred money into ordinary income at whatever your marginal rate happens to be during your highest need years. You are paying taxes on every dollar of IRA principal at ordinary income rates. When you instead claim Social Security early and leave your IRA to grow, you have the option to convert IRA money to Roth during low-income years, pay taxes at lower rates, and shift future growth into a permanently tax-free vehicle. The tax leverage alone, compounded over a decade, can be worth tens of thousands of dollars in after-tax wealth, completely independent of the market return question. The system is not your friend. The chart on the advisor's wall is not the truth. The truth is in the order of returns, the size of your bridge, the cost of your forced selling, and the cold actuarial reality of the break-even point. Run your own numbers. Question every laminated chart. And remember Bob every single time someone tells you that waiting is always the smart move. Drop your claiming age and portfolio range in the comments. Tell me what state you are in, whether you are married or single, and what your advisor told you. The field reports from this community are how the archive grows. And your story might be exactly what wakes up someone with the same portfolio, the same age, and the same bad advisor scrolling past this video right now.